Hey guys, welcome back to our vegan kitchen. Here we go, one more time. Deliciously Ella's sweet potato brownies. I see there's quite a few iterations of this recipe from her on the internet. That's what I'm afraid of when I'm doing my cookbook. I have all these recipes that we cook on a daily basis, and they keep morphing into other recipes and they're improving, and I just don't want to put the unimproved ones in the cookbook. I want you guys to have the most up-to-date, delicious version of the recipe. So that's what's been holding us back with the cookbook. It's
besides having like no free time.
Bingo. All right, so like I said, we're gonna try this one more time. Deliciously Ella's sweet potato brownies. This recipe is almost completely different from the first one, except that it's got sweet potatoes in it. Alright, so I already did a little prep work. I took 500 grams of sweet potatoes and I peeled and cut them up and boiled them until they were fork tender. And my dates, I have already pitted, and I have a little trick, a little veganist fork trick. I like to put my dates in the hot water so that they soften up, so my kitchen equipment doesn't have to work as hard and won't burn out as earlier as it will when you try and, overwork it. So that is just going to sit for a minute. I want to take a second to ask you to please subscribe. We've got a lot of great vegan recipes on here, and if you're a new vegan, we've got some that are pretty simple that you might really enjoy.
And we have a lot of fun.
We do. We try to anyway, because you know what? As my mom always says, if you can't laugh, you're a dead duck. I don't know what that means, but she always says it. So if you are interested in the original recipe, it will be linked in the info box below, and I will put my recipe in the info box below because I cannot follow her recipe because I am allergic to tree nuts, and her recipe includes almond flour. So I think I saw somewhere that instead of the almond flour, you're supposed to double the oats. So that's what I'm going to do today. Also, I can't use peanut butter, allergic. So I'm going to come up with a different solution. So let's plug this food processor in and get started. Alright, so the first thing that I'm going to do is grind up my substitute for the peanut butter. I'm not doing this in exactly the same order that she does it because obviously I have to grind up other stuff that wasn't included in her recipe. So it calls for 2 tablespoons of peanut butter. So I'm going to go with, that's about 6 tablespoons of roasted salted sunflower. It might be a little bit overkill, but better a little bit too much than not enough, right?
Yeah.
Can never have enough. I've also got my whole rolled oats, old-fashioned rolled oats. I'm going to be grinding these into a flour. So let's do that before we move on. I think that looks pretty good. Obviously, most of this is going to be happening in the food processor. Or if you have a nice blender, you could also probably do it in there, but I think it's going to be quite thick, so it's probably better to do it in a food processor. I don't think this is the type of recipe that you could do by hand. I don't think it's going to come out right. So we've got this. I think we should probably transfer this to another bowl because next we're going to mix up the wet ingredients. Alright, so we're going to drain this. You don't need the liquid in there, and you shouldn't have the liquid from in there. And Maddie just made a important point here. Hey, it didn't look like you got all the stuff out of there, but that's okay because it's all going to end up in here anyway. I just wanted to get most of it out. So we're going to mix this up. And you're probably saying, sweet potatoes and brownies, ugh. But you won't even be able to tell that they're in there. Or will you? Alright, here we go. Alright, don't skimp on the mixing because if you get any pieces that aren't like in a puree, it's just going to look stupid. It's going to look like a, oh, there's sweet potato in there. So don't skimp on that part. Alright, the rest of the ingredients. We're going to need some maple syrup. But you know what? Let's do the dry ingredients first, because then when I go to measure it, I don't have to wash the thing. That's smart. So we're going to do the cacao next. Cacao to cacao. We're going to be doing 6 tablespoons, so if you do math good, that is a 1/4 cup size and a 1/2 1/4 cup size. All right, we're going to do the maple syrup next. So that is also 6 tablespoons. So that would be, you guessed it, 1/4 cup and then a 1/2 1/4 cup. Now we need our coconut oil. So we need 2 tablespoons of coconut oil. So you want to measure this melted. So that would be a 1/2 1/4 cup.
That buttery smell.
You can't beat it. This is my all-time favorite coconut oil. The Nutiva buttery flavored non-dairy coconut oil. It's refined. It's not the virgin one. It tastes too much like coconut, and nobody in my family likes coconut.
I like coconut.
Well, let's just say nobody.
No one important.
I wasn't gonna say it, but you know what I mean. Danny. Alright, her recipe calls for salt. I'm not going to put any salt in because the sunflower seeds are salted, so I'm not going to be putting that in. We also need 1 teaspoon of baking powder because these will just be a brick if you don't put that in. They're not going to rise. So you want to make sure you're giving them a little air in there. I keep wanting to put that lid on everything, but it doesn't fit. Now this is the weird part and the new part. The water from a can of chickpeas. Aquafaba, baby. How convenient too, because we just are going to be making our own hummus this week.
So is that in place of the egg?
Yes. That's funny that it's like a whole can though. Usually they only tell you like a couple of tablespoons or whatever, but she said put in the whole can, baby. And then we're going to blend our oats in there. Wow, this is really getting full, isn't it?
Jeez. Sure that's all going to fit?
I hope so. All right. I think we're just going to do 1 scrape down the sides, and then we'll be ready to get this in the pan. All right, here we go. We're ready to pan it. So we're going to be adding chocolate chips to this, but I didn't want to do it in here because I didn't want them to be like obliterated. So I think what we're going to do is we're going to put like a layer of this in. Oh, that doesn't turn that way. It's been a while. Yeah.
Real plop.
It is a real plop. Alright, so we're going to put like 1/2 of it. Let's see. It could work. Alright, so that's probably not 1/2. That's probably like 1/3, but that's okay. And we're going to put in some chocolate chips. Dark chocolate vegan chips, of course. I think that's enough.
Yeah, I guess.
A little more?
I feel like this corner is very saturated.
Oh, okay. We'll put a couple over here. Alright. Well, this is for Sunday dessert, so come on. Don't be such a bee. This is not a weekday dessert. I just don't want the middle part to fall in. That would not be fun.
Yum.
And, by the way, I have this opportunity to tell you the oven has been preset to 350 degrees convection. So there was no other explanation. So if you don't have a convection oven, usually the rule is you go up 25 degrees in temperature. So would it be 375 then for... I don't know. I never did that rule, but that apparently is like a thing. So at your own risk, If you don't have convection, go up to 375, or maybe just play it safe with 350. I don't know, and cook it a little bit longer. But let's get this all scraped out. I'm not going to bore you with this. I don't know if you can handle this, but it's going to be going in at 350 convection for 45 to 50 minutes, but adjust according to your oven. All right, so I'm going to put a little video here of how we served it at dinner.
Or dessert.
Or, well, dessert after dinner. And here is what's left. It's very wet.
Mm-hmm.
I was...
Miss! Oh, Mister!
I was not a fan, unfortunately.
It wasn't bad, but it wasn't a brownie.
No. I think maybe that's what I'm getting hung up on here. This is kind of what I think is like a British pudding. So if it's a British pudding that you're after, I guess it's pretty good. Let's show you the texture here. It's like, it's very wet.
Yeah.
And it's very like spongy.
It's definitely very cake-like.
Cake-like?
I mean, sorry, not cake-like, pudding-like.
Pudding-like. Yeah. So like...
Wait. I mean, it's good in its own way, but it's...
Not a brownie.
Yeah.
Not very sweet either.
Yeah, it's not very sweet either, which Granny loves, but...
Yeah. I didn't think it was going to be like this. So, I hope that helps. Probably not going to make it again. Unless I make it more into a brownie. I do like the idea of having a sweet potato in there, but maybe rethink the other ingredients. I think the chickpea aquafaba was probably good.
Maybe add some monk fruit sweetener or something.
Maybe. I don't know. Stay tuned, though, and subscribe, and you'll find out.
We also didn't use peanut butter, though, which maybe would change things.
No.
Okay.
I mean, I'll still eat it.
Yeah, oh, we're still going to eat it, but it's just not what we thought it would be.
Bingo. All right, so thank you so much for watching. Until next time, I'll be appreciating you. And until then, much love.